is like a 5th grade book report from the class. Anyhow, through the good graces of my mother in the 80s, I bought a co-op apartment in Manhattan. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on 14th Street between 5th Avenue and Union Square across from Woolworths. And I immediately had to rent it because I couldn't afford to live there any longer. So after having a decade of success, I came upon this 6-month period where it was vacant. And I'm hemorrhaging cash and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And so finally, these 2 Japanese students offer up that they're going to rent the place. And they couldn't come up with all the upfront money, but I was desperate, so I said, great, come on down. So within a month, I knew that things were going south because the $300 phone bill that came in, I realized that they weren't going to be paying me any money. So then shortly after that, I got letters from the co-op board saying that they had been vomiting in the elevator, running down elderly in the lobby on their bicycles, and banging on the door of 806, which was an 80-year-old woman that was a floor above my apartment on 706, trying to get in at 2 in the morning. So I I continued to get these letters, and I thought, okay, well, I have to evict these guys. So I went to a marshal, and they got the paperwork, served them with the papers, and about 2 months later, they came back because one I was not dotted and one T was not crossed. So it was a Saturday in July, incredibly hot, and I'm mowing the lawn at the house that I'm renting, where my brother lives. And I hear the door slam, and he comes across the lawn with a letter in his hand. He said, this is from the co-op board, and they're taking you to court. So I was like, all right, well, it's moving day. So we had a minivan from a commercial I was doing, so we get in the minivan, and we stopped long enough to pick up my friend Phil, who's a New York City firefighter, 6'2", 210, and off we went. And in the back of the minivan were 2 blue hats with police across the brim. So we drove in, and Rich, the doorman, was there, as he always is. And I said, Rich, are they here? He goes, no. I said, give me a phone book. So I looked up a locksmith, called locksmith, said, come on over. And I said, when they come, buzz me up. She said, okay. So we went up. I opened the door of the apartment. It's Armageddon. There's garbage bags in the kitchen that are just, who knows what they contain. Flies just gently flying around. On the floor is a faux leopard carpet that's surrounded by what appears to be bags of marijuana, maybe a crack pipe, little cartons of what looked to be cocaine. All over the parquet floor are cigarettes that have been put out, just wherever they fell. On the walls are footprints, as if they've gotten back and done some sort of gymnastic movement. The plate glass windows that look out over 14th Street are broken. The bedroom and bathrooms fared no better. In the bathrooms, there was scum on the sink and in the shower that was indescribable. All the mirrors were broken. And the door handles on the bedroom doors had been flung open so violently that there was dinner-sized plate holes in all the sheetrock. Clothes, Chinese food containers, you name it, strewn everywhere. So I am sort of boiling with rage, as I am now with anxiety, telling the story. And wondering, I basically come to this apartment without their consent. The locksmith has come and gone. I changed the locks, and I'm breaking the law, so what am I going to do? At that point, the buzzer rings. Rich says, they're on their way off. Shit, I'm in trouble. So I'm standing there sort of wondering what to do, and then I hear them fumbling at the door with their key. So I basically just opened the door and grabbed the eldest brother, who was the slimy character, and shoved him up against the door and said, get your shit and get out now! And the younger brother, who's sort of a nice guy, sort of looking with wide eyes, and there's Phil and Peter with their police hats on, staring at them. So they went in and started gathering their stuff up, and I said to Peter and Phil, get their stuff and just take it downstairs and throw it on the curb. So began the process of taking everything downstairs, throwing it out, and about 15 minutes into this, the super comes up and said, sanitation just came by, and if that stuff's down there in an hour, we get a $750 fine, which means you get a $750 fine. I turned to my brother Peter and said, Hertz Cube Trucks, go. Peter flies out, gone to Hertz. Phil and the older brother continue to take stuff down as I guide the younger brother around who's gathering stuff and putting it in garbage bags and suitcases and whatnot. And at one point, there's an open window, I hear commotion, and I go and I look out, and I forgot to mention that there was a cockatiel in a cage and a giant, some sort of lizard in like an aquarium. And I look down the 7th floor, sort of through a camera lens. I'm looking down, and I see this guy come in from the side, and talk to the older brother, and I see the cage with the bird get lifted up, and a bunch of money exchange hands, and the guy exits frame. I'm like, what's going on? And then a moment later, he comes back in, money exchanges hands, he takes the lizard, and he exits frame again. I'm thinking, he's having a tag sale while I'm throwing him out. At the same time, a motorcycle cop pulls up in a scooter and comes over because next door is the OTB. So there's all these drunks sort of looking at all their stuff, wondering what's going on. And at that point, I see the blue brim of the hat that Phil's wearing come out into the street. And I see the cop and Phil sort of having a conversation, which was later related to me as, what's going on here? One of my friends evicting these guys for non-payment of rent. I said, do you have any paperwork? And he said, no. But out came Phil's fire department ID. The cop said, I'm going to go away, but when I come back, this all better be gone. Beautiful. So at that point, Peter screams up in the Hertz Cube truck. We go down, we gather these guys up with all their stuff, we throw them in. And for some reason, I'm feeling magnanimous, so I say, where do you want to go? Give me an address on Mulberry Street. So we scream down Mulberry Street and stop, and the older brother goes to get out. I said, no, you're staying here. So the younger brother goes up. In the meantime, there's all the elderly Italian guys with their cigars and their hats, started looking what's going on, and the older women, the Italian women with their carriage with their little shopping carts going down the street. And Phil's saying, this guy's got all this money from selling these pets to the pet store guy. So we approach him, he's in the back of the cube truck. He's like, oh, no. And Phil's like, give us, so we pull his pockets out, no money. We rip his pants down, and a wad of 20s falls on the floor of the truck. $200. Thank you very much. So, of course, the younger brother comes out, there's nobody home. So we put him in the back of the truck, and I'm thinking, take him to Staten Island, take all their clothes off, just leave them with fresh kills. Like, what should we do with these guys? They deserve something. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit of rain. I'm thinking, okay, well, we go down to this Voc Tech school that's down by the Holland Tunnel, pretty deserted block. And we take their shit and we just throw it out on the side, and then we throw them out. And my younger brother Peter, who's still wearing his police hat, walks over and grabs the older brother and goes, if you come back, we'll fucking kill you! We get in the truck, we drive to the Time Cafe. We have a burger, we have a beer, we're relaxing. I have all these voicemails from my girlfriend who I have not called. So I decided, all right, we should head back to Queens. So we get in the van and we're driving over the Williamsburg Bridge. It's now raining a little bit harder. And as we get to the Brooklyn side, there's a New York City bus that has crashed into an upright steel column, slightly cordoned, with the front windshield blowing out, and the driver screaming, help me, because he's pinned between the seat and the wheel. Phil, my friend, ever the fireman, pull over. So we pull over, we get out. My brother Peter goes to the back, starts directing traffic. Phil goes into the front to help this guy. I go around to the back, and the doors are slightly askew, so I open them, and here's a nurse. Blood pouring from her nose and her mouth, dripping down in a white uniform. We start sitting people down on the curb. In the meantime, police, emergency trucks, fire department, EMS buses, from Peter's still out there, directing traffic on the Williamsburg Bridge. Phil's inside screaming, I need a backboard, I need gloves! I'm sitting people down on the curb, and paramedics come over and taking to various ambulances and buses. And at one point I just said to Phil, after we'd been there about 45 minutes, it's time to go. So we left, and we drive back to Queens, and I pull up in front of my house, and my girlfriend comes out in rage. Where the fuck have you been? I said, give me a second to tell you about my day.